Hey, Syracuse, Mayor Ben Walsh here, and I am joined by the City of Syracuse's Director of Communications and Marketing, Ruthnie Angrand. And we are here to talk about, drumroll, the city's new website. So for anybody that visits our website, you will know or have a sense of when it was last updated, which was around 2008. So not the previous administration, but the administration before that. It's long overdue. It's something that when I started in this office 3.5 years ago, along with Ruthnie, we agreed was a priority, something that we wanted to get done as soon as possible. Little did I know the Herculean task that I was laying in front of Ruthnie, but she and the rest of our team have done an amazing job getting us to this point, which is almost there. We're not quite there yet, but we are at the point where we want to start sharing it with you all to get your feedback so we can make sure that we have the best possible site. So what we're going to show you, and Ruthnie, if you want to bring up the website, is what we're calling our beta site. Ruthnie, maybe we can start there as you're pulling up the site. Tell everyone when we refer to it as a beta site, what does that mean for us non-technocrats?
Well, a beta site really is just a halfway stage before you get to the final product. It really just means like early version or preview version. The goal of the beta site is this looks dramatically different than what we're using right now. So if you think of it as moving, we kind of don't want to move into this new house overnight. We want to give people an opportunity to take a look at it, get comfortable with it, get familiar with it, navigate their way around, and kind of see what the goal is and how we're going to lay out the new technology.
Cool. So for folks looking to find it, they can probably see it on the screen, but where are people going to find the beta site to test out?
When you go to syrgov.net, on the front page, there'll be a giant red banner that says, check out a preview of our new website. You click that banner, it'll take you straight over to the site. And for those of you that don't even want to see our existing version, you can type beta.syrgov.net. It's a very quick and easy URL. It'll land you on this page as well.
Okay, great. So I'm going to ask you to do a tour, but before we do, maybe you can just kind of manage our expectations. What are people going to find on here? Obviously, we see a beautiful picture of Upper Onondaga Park, but what are people going to find on here when they log on, and what are they not going to find at this beta stage?
Okay, so what you will find is a fully functioning layout of a website. The links do work. The outbound links all work as well. And you'll pretty much see how we're formatting information and navigation. What you won't find is, because the site is in development, we are actively rewriting thousands of pages. We're deciding what we retire and archive because it's 10 years old and we don't need it anymore. So while we're working on that stuff, you won't be able to kind of click into living or business and jump in and see what those pages look like just yet. I've kind of locked those out because I want you to just stay on the front page. Just look at the outside of the house right now and get comfortable and familiar with it. The site features a really powerful search tool. So if you're typing in something like law and the predictive search brings something up, you'll be able to navigate to it, but what you're going to see is a page in development. So you shouldn't expect to do business on this site yet. You don't want to put in your service requests on this site yet. The thing that we want people to do is to scroll to the bottom of the site and give us feedback. You're going to click this new website feedback link, and it's going to take you to a page where there's a survey, and you're going to fill out the survey and give us input. If you do happen to navigate on some other pages, you'll see a sign that says in development, or you won't see anything at all, and at the bottom will just be a, was this page helpful? That kind of feedback helps as well.
Great. So as we are going through this beta stage, and as we are hopefully getting input from our constituents far and wide, to your point, there's still a lot of heavy lifting to be done, not just by you, but by many other city staff, as well as our professional consultants here. And so we're kind of working on parallel tracks, right?
We are. It's a bit of a task for them because we're continuing to support SeerGov.net. So we're still doing updates there. We're still managing information and security there, but we're also doing those updates on the beta site as well, because when we are ready to make a final switch, we want all of the content that's happening between now and then to be readily available on the new site. But we're definitely hard at work in the background.
Great. So I'd really like to hear from you about maybe some of your favorite new features. I mentioned the picture, which is beautiful. I'm a little defensive. I do have to say, it is not intentional that it's up Onondaga Park, which it happens to be the closest park to my house. It just happens to be a beautiful picture that we are using right now. But maybe let's start with that. What can people expect in terms of photographic images as they're navigating throughout the site? And what about our neighbors on the north side and the south side? Are they going to get some love too here?
The fun thing is when we were doing a design workshop with our consultants and our content publishers and a couple of stakeholders. Thank you to the people at Downtown Committee and Visit Syracuse and TNT. Something that we saw on other city websites that we love was really prominent pictures of the city. And then B, the idea that cities have seasons. It's not always winter here, but it's not always summer either. So these photos will change seasonally, which is kind of exciting. Now, we're not used to operating like this, having beautiful images and going out and doing the fancy stuff. So what users can look forward to is we're going to be pulling together a photo contest just to be able to draw in a lot of good user-generated photography. I want to tell everyone to be on the lookout for that, because not only is it an opportunity to feature your work on the city, but it helps us build our library so that people can see the North Side parks. People can see those East Side features and those West and South Side features. So I'm really looking forward to having residents put a little bit of themselves in their neighborhood in the site.
Awesome. Great. Well, without further ado, why don't you give us a little tour? You can point out some of the features that you're most excited about, but why don't you walk us through a little bit?
Okay.
Please.
So on the website, the first thing you see is our city logo. What I love about the city logo is that when you click it, no matter where you are in the site, it'll bring you back home. That sounds like a small feat, but it's not something that works on our existing city websites. So at least no matter where you are, if you get lost, you can navigate back home. You can jump to our social media accounts right up here. They're out of the way. And one of my favorite features is Syracuse is a really diverse city. Our school district speaks dozens of languages. We have neighbors from all over the world. So we went digging and looked at the top languages that we believe we could support on the site. If you speak Spanish, Arabic, Nepali, or Vietnamese, you can translate the site to your language. And what it will do is it will take the live text and translate it for you. That way, no matter what your background is or language is, we're trying to tackle the biggest ones to make sure that the site is accessible and usable by everyone in the community. So this is a really fun one for me. I will take us back to English though. And then as you scroll down, this search bar is really, really helpful. We don't have a functioning search bar right now. We take it for granted, and almost everyone Googles for things on our site. I Google for things on our site. So being able to come in here, you can type communications office, and look, there goes the Office of Communications and a description of what it is that you're looking at. You can type Mayor Walsh. And there goes Mayor Walsh, and he comes up in a few places. But
why is it that I cringed when you said you can type Mayor Walsh? I wasn't sure what was going to pop up. It's just force of habit, I guess.
But it's not Google, it's on our site. So all the content in here is literally looking at, the mayor's office, the mayor's bio. Maybe someone wants to request a meeting with the mayor and they just don't know how to do it. They don't have to necessarily know how things are laid out on the site. They can just navigate to it. So this predictive search bar is a really powerful tool. We wanted to make sure that it had a lot of visibility. And then lastly, as it relates to the top features of the site, I love that this site is falling within our brand colors. We did a really big job at identifying what our brand looks like as a city. And you're starting to see some of that reflected in the city content now. You see this blue and this gold really prominent, and you see it used throughout the site. You see aerial pictures of the city. So it just makes it easier to get this sense and this feeling of like, oh, this is from the city of Syracuse. If I get communications that are in these colors, it starts to feel a little more official. At the top of the site is our top task, our featured services. Um, Redesigning the city's website hasn't just been about designing what something looks like, but also designing how it works, thus how we work. This has been a really big first step in our digital transformation. People don't come to our website to read, and read some more. A lot of them come to do business. During COVID, we were shuttered, and we saw a lot of people having trouble navigating, trying to figure out, is City Hall open? Is it closed? How do I make my payments? Is it safe to come out? I'm not comfortable coming out. So when we were thinking about getting information to people, the very first information we prioritized was service information. City services. We used traffic on the existing city website that we had to pull from SEO searches to see what are the things that people are doing the most. We believe they're going to City Line to file requests. They're registering for parks classes. They're looking for jobs. They're looking for information about council meetings. They're looking for information on what is all the construction projects happening around the city. They want to pay parking tickets. They want to register pets. They want to apply for permits. And then they want to know what their yard waste pickup schedule is. These are the questions that we talk to our folks on the phone about, that we looked at search traffic for. And these were the things that people were doing the most often this time of year. Some of these things, most of these things you can do on our site now, but now they're prominently featured here. This section will constantly change. In the winter, we'll have less people interested in registering a pet. Hopefully the pets will all be indoors and warm. And maybe people will be looking for snowplow information. So the more people use the site, we're able to pick up analytics and kind of just dig around and say, okay, this is no longer a priority this season. Let's push this a little further down the list and push up the top tasks. If you want to see all of our services, what you can do is you can either click this button here to see the services page, or you can go up here and see the services page. This is one of the pages that I'm giving you a sneak peek into now, but while we're still working in the background, we're going to block it because we don't want people filing service requests. But I want you to see that you're able to scroll down and see all the city services that you can perform online. So if you don't see something in the top task, you can either look for it here or continue to use our predictive search bar. So let's say I want to file a FOIL request. I click FOIL. I could request a zoning designation letter. I could report a zombie property. So these are some of the things that are FOIL related that I can do here. Let's say I want to pay a bill. I click search. It says, do you want to pay a legal judgment? Do you want to register as a vendor? So you have a few options. And as we continue rewriting services and programs, these services are going to continue to build up because a lot of departments are realizing they offer more services than they might have thought.
And Ruthnie, if I can just interject there, that was a good reminder as you were punching in the search items, that especially early on in the beta stage, you're not always going to get exactly what you want or what you're expecting. So we know that, but that's where we need your feedback, that you tried to do something and you weren't able to, or there was something that you didn't like. We are not trying to suggest that this is anything close to fully baked. Now's the time to work out the kinks, and we're asking for the community to help us do that.
Absolutely. There are a few features that are in development that are not available on our existing website. One is this works in projects page, seeing what works in projects and street works are happening around you. Another one is this what's near me feature. I would love when we later on in the year get this built out for people to be able to find their waste collection schedule or know who their elected council person is just by simply looking up their location and their address. So those kind of features we're building into the site right now. So when people scroll down to our new website feedback, it'll take them to a page where they could learn a little bit about the background of the website project, and they could fill out a survey on the beta site because we need their input to continue to make this work for them and work for us.
That's great. No, I'm particularly excited about some of those features around what's happening where people are. We get a lot of that, and I just get it walking down the street. People just happen to see me and say, "Hey, what's going on over around the corner from where I live?" And that's one of our biggest challenges, and certainly yours as the head of communications, is how can we make sure there's a lot going on in the city? How can we make sure that we are delivering the most relevant and pertinent information that is impacting people's lives where they are, whether it's where they live or where they work? And the further along we get with this site, the more we're going to be able to give people exactly what they're looking for there. But that's going to be a big upgrade to where we are now.
Yeah, and you can go all the way down the rabbit hole, looking up information, finding things. If I want to jump into projects, there's an example project here of East Colvin Street Mill and Pave project. And you can see an entire breakdown of information on what this project is, who the leads are, is there a public comment period, what's being done. And this is the kind of stuff that we may not always have the time to discuss on the phone in 2 or 3 minutes if you call CityLine, but if CityLine can refer you to the website and say, hey, if you click the Works and Projects section, you can look up those projects near you. You could start to get information on the photos from the project, and we're continuing to work on the maps for the project. And this is a great example of a page that when you get down to the bottom of the page, you also have the opportunity to tell me, was this page helpful? Yes, maybe, no. So I could say maybe. I could say, hey, tell me, how can we improve this page? So we can take feedback in multiple ways. You could do it on the survey, or as you're exploring the site, you can do it by scrolling to the bottom and just letting us know in a simple one question, was this helpful or not?
I also just want to reiterate, I think oftentimes, or at least people that have been around a little bit longer, like myself, in the early days of websites and in the internet, while you might think that people are coming here to explore and to learn about the community, and there certainly will be some that are, a lot of people are just coming to do business, to pay a bill, to get something done. And that is, we had a lot of options to do that, paying online, things like that before the pandemic, but since the pandemic, we have even more. So not only do we have more options to do more business online, but with this new site, it becomes much more accessible in terms of being able to get where you want to go as quickly as possible. So you log on, you get your business done, and you're out.
And I think you've covered all the bases right there. What's important for residents to know is we've done this using user testing. We are working with our partner, Open Cities, to make sure that we're employing the best strategies for doing online service and doing business online. We're making sure that we're getting public input and feedback along the way. Last year during COVID, we were able to launch a survey, a navigation test, just asking people, hey, when you're navigating websites, where are the places that you're looking for information, just so we can get some understanding of user behavior, where someone would look for what. So there's a lot of user testing, there's a lot of public input, and there's a lot of science and user design baked into our strategies for designing the site. It looks great, but it's supposed to function well and make life easier, not just for the public, but for us too. Once upon a time, one person would sit and update the entire site for all 30 something of our departments. And no one person is a subject matter expert on the city of Syracuse. So this is wonderful because we've been able to bring on a team and teach a team from all of our departments. We have content publishers from across our departments who are all learning how to update their own information so that updates can be faster, and making sure that they have access to things in case something's broken or something's not working and users need access to that information. So we at City Hall are looking forward to this process as much as the public.
Absolutely. So let's talk about going forward. So we have our big reveal. The beta site is live. We want people on it, testing it out, providing feedback. Where do we go from here?
So first, we're going to do our beta launch to make sure that we can start gathering input. We're going to stay in beta mode for a couple of months. The goal isn't speed here. The goal is the quality of information that we get back. So the more that you can go online and leave us feedback, take our survey, you're giving us more and more information to say, hey, tweak this, hey, tweak that. Hey, I was looking for this and I couldn't find it, or where would that be? So that's step number one. Step number two, I love getting feedback on social media about how usable this is. I want you to share this with your friends and your family. We've looked at demographic data and seen that there's a constituency in certain neighborhoods that don't use our website. They're used to coming in here and doing business. So share that information with your family, your aunts and your uncles, and let them know before they stop by City Hall to make a payment, there's a way that you could do it online. I'd love to get that population's feedback too, just because you never know. Maybe one day someone might be injured or someone might be in the middle of something important and they can't step away to get down here and pay that traffic ticket or pay a judgment or pay a bill. We want to make sure that they still have access to what they need in the palm of their hand.
Great. Anything else for the good of the order, or do you think we covered it?
I think we covered it. I'm looking forward to the feedback in the chatter. And I also want the city of Syracuse to be super duper proud of the content publishers and the team that have pulled together to do this. I've heard frequently from our project team and from other cities. I can't believe you're taking on this project in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of cities started projects like this before the pandemic hit, and they accelerated their timeline because of the pandemic. But we were consistent and we pushed through. So I'm just really proud of the team that's doing this work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. The term I keep using is Herculean task. It really is. You've been the leader, and so thank you and great job to you. But as you pointed out, it really is a team effort. But from our perspective in city government, there is no more important role than to effectively engage our constituents, those that we serve. And in this day and age, a website is a critical way in which we do that. And we're finally going to be able to give our constituents an online engagement tool that they deserve. So thank you all for tuning in. Please use the site, give us feedback, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.